Ladies and gents, and everybody in the UR2D2 universe. It's episode one of, I don't even know what the podcast's name is, but you know what? We're here now, and it's part of UR2D2. I've got myself, Y6B9, you were 6, but I'm a 9, also known as you to some of you, or most of you, or all of you. But anyway, next to me, well, not physically next to me, but next to me, we've got my driver, team boss of a future JL team, UL driver for next season and this previous season that just passed by, CL driver, CL podium sitter. Anyway, let me stop rambling. It's Albono. Yo, Albono, how you doing?
I am not as hyped up for this as you, clearly. Jesus Christ, that was an amazing intro.
Yeah, no, honestly, I'm just playing it. Like, not playing around, but you know what? Let's start off with a bang. You get me?
That was amazing. I'm glad you started this because I have not got that sort of enthusiasm right now. I woke up about 3 hours ago, and unfortunately, and it is 4 o'clock. So, yeah, I'm
Oh,
very
snap.
excited to be here.
Oh my, that's good though. That's good. That's good. And honestly, same. Actually, I'm kind of. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. If I'm honest, I'm just like here. I'm here.
I
So
feel like
yeah.
between us, we have the yapping ability of Matty Mar. So this should I think the hardest part of today is going to keeping the length of the podcast under 5 hours. That's our task for today. Under 5 hours.
That's the goal. You said 20 to 30 minutes. I don't know if that will be too short though.
Well, as long as it's not not over an hour, because the average attention span of a UR2D player is not that long, but there isn't so much to discuss as there will be in the next one, like the preview of season 21, but there is still
Ooh.
quite a substantial stuff to go on because this is the review of season 20 UL, season 17 CL, season 17 BJL, and season 12 AL. The league structure in this in the UR2 community needs changed because that is far too complex for my OCD to handle. I guess we start with Apprentice League and go up to Ultimate League. That seems like
Yeah.
the best way to do it. So Apprentice League, I had
Mm.
the absolute honor of commentating this season with my good friend Guzzyman, and history was made as the first driver in history was banned mid-season in a 5 race season. Mid-season, not because he was dirty on track, not because he was typing in chat during the race, which we'll get onto that later, but because he was just that good, winning the only 2 races he done by 13 and 12 seconds. Like,
Oof.
it's insane how good this guy is. I feel like in that first 2 races in Australia, we witnessed myself and Guzzyman witnessed a legend of UR2D in the making. He's just so good.
That was insane. Like, I think sometimes, right? I don't even know what I was about to say, but sometimes it's actually insane to see because I think, you know what? I was more prepared for the other the other segments, JL, CL, and UL. But one thing I will say is he's freaking quick. Like from the first day, right? We saw him in time trial, and we saw him up in the top five, which is not usual for somebody who's just joined the leagues and stuff like
Mm,
that. So the AL performance, I still remember that as well. It was that three-way fight between himself, Mika, and VZS, I think it was. And he and VZS were battling for the lead. But then after the pit stops, Sage went and was never to be seen again, eh?
mm. As the person who was in a title fight with him in Journeyman League, I can say he's pretty damn bloody stupidly quick, and it is very annoying how quick he is because he is, but he is also a very nice guy. When he realized that, well, when he gave me false hope that he was going to miss a race in Journeyman League, he messaged to say good luck, which is it's a small thing, but not many people do it, and there is a lot
Hmm.
of I believe. Did he come from mobile?
I
He
don't think
must
he
have.
did. Yeah, I don't think he came from like the mobile leagues, but I think he started with mobile or something like he can clarify once he does listen to the podcast. But
Hmm.
I think he started on mobile and then moved over to PC or something like that.
Yeah, he is. He's stupidly quick. Not even F1 fan in his debut season won a race by 13 seconds in AL. Like it is, it is insane. But we've
Mad.
been now glazing Sash for about 4 minutes, so I guess we should probably move on to another driver. Uh, I guess the next person to talk about in Apprentice League is the person who won Apprentice League and
Oh,
our favorite Ethiopian, the man, the myth, the legend, Mika Tamika. Yes, we're biased, but who cares? We are the ones hosting, so suck it. Mika Tamika was an amazing, not just an amazing driver, but also an amazing person. He is one of my all-time favorite people to be in a VC with during a race because he's so funny. He through Sash's dominance was. I think I'm 99% sure he had 100% podium records this season, and like
mm,
he was amazing. The performances he put in, especially that race in Monaco where he was down in last at one point because he just got murdered.
oh snap.
He was down. He was down near the back a lot during races, just due to getting murdered, and he was always up there by the end of the race on the podium. Good strategies, good just good racing, and you saw that through the leagues as well. His upwards in performance through the the two AL seasons and the CL season was insane. Like especially in JL as well,
Mm,
finishing second in that season as well. It was a very well deserved win from him.
absolutely. I think those last three races, I think the one that stood out was probably Novo Plano. I mean, there were only six drivers, yes, right? But even so, you've still got competition. And I think one other driver who really started showing up towards the end of the season was Axel. He took a
Mm.
dominant pole. And then in the race, I think it was Mika, Ricky Boy, and Bluebell Boy all battling for position. And I think one of Mika's, because I mean, I can talk from a team perspective, right? One of the things that he struggled with the beginning of the season, is especially, I'd say, and even mid-season, was with time management and keeping consistent with time management. But in the race, like once he was out in front, and once he dropped Bluebell Boy and Ricky and VZS, then it was a parade. It was a brilliant drive, and I think that was something that kind of like showed the work that went into CL, into JL, and then in AL. It's like that was a fantastic performance,
Mm.
and I think with the title as well. I think obviously like Serge, he got banned, right? But I think in a way it doesn't necessarily diminish the title because to be first you have to finish, right?
Exactly.
And not just that, but you have to finish well as well, which Mika did, scoring podiums per race. And you know what? This sounds mad biased, but we'll try to keep it. We'll try to keep it rational, especially as we head into CL, UR, everything. But yeah, that was a
Yeah,
fantastic performance.
he is a very good driver, and we've got to start going through the drivers more quickly because it's been 10 minutes and we've done two drivers so far. So we've got to speed things up. But just to end with the AL section, I want to talk about three other drivers, Axis and Lexus, in the same
Yeah.
category. For the speed the two drivers have is insane, but my theory that I've talked to other people about, including yourself, why they don't
Mm-hmm.
have good sort of race performances and why they're kind of in this league labeled a quality merchant is because they're too clean in races. Like their one lap
Mm-hmm.
pace is incredible. Their race pace would be amazing, but they're too scared just to get their elbows out, which is one thing I really really enjoy watching Mika sort of carry throughout the season. Just the more will to just go for dive bombs, get it, like defend well. Something that if Axis, Lexus, people like that started doing, they would be up there on the podium because they have the pace to do it. They just need to sort of just, I guess, just appreciate their own pace a little bit more, not just give away positions because they want to be too clean, which is again also something I think me and you both struggled with towards the start of our careers, trying to be too clean, and sometimes it can actually end up just completely screwing you over, like your races and ruining it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And going back to like, yeah, to Lexus, I think. Um, yeah, I definitely hear what you say because I think, especially towards the lower leagues, and I think as we talk about CL, I'm not sure if we might mention it, but one of the big things is with CL and with JL, it's like it's every man for himself at that point.
Uh huh.
So like if you keep it clean, unfortunately, I think the way that things are at the moment, you, you slow down by keeping clean, and that makes you more of like a target for other drivers, which should not be the case, right? Should definitely not be the case. But then at the end of the day, if you get your elbows out, there's a bigger chance that even though you do make a few enemies on track, you will still gain the positions and you will still prevail. And I think that's what this season in particular has shown. Because I think if you look at someone like hmm, actually I don't have an example at the moment, eh?
No, no.
I really don't have an example. It's with
No one. Can't think
I
of anyone. Just say your point then. You don't gotta name specifics, I guess.
think you know there's moments, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're thinking of something and it's on the tip of your tongue and then you kind of forget it. But
All the time.
yeah, yeah, all the time. So it's a bit like that at the moment. But I'd say I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Let's go to
Okay,
the
okay.
next person.
Well, after that very, very amazing point made by you, the one last person I'd like to talk about, because we can't go through every driver, because every driver's had moments in the league of good, but if we do that, we will literally be here for 5 hours. The last person I want to talk about is Ricky Boy, and without being too biased, because he is one of my friends on the server, he had like, I think this has probably been his breakout season in AL and JL, because if you just look at the performance growth from last season to this season, he was
Yeah.
constantly back marker in even AL, let alone JL. Finishing eighth in the standings last season, finishing third this season was insane. Almost won Monaco, almost won Bali, but yeah, he said he locked up. That's not possible in this game. He forgot to turn because I was in a VC with him in that race. He forgot to turn in that race, which was very unfortunate. Almost won. Um, he has had like a completely breakout season. It's been really really fun to watch as well because he has actually been. I believe he's one of the youngest people in the UR2D leagues, and he's actually been here longer than a lot of people have as well. He started in like season 9 of JL or something, I believe.
Damn,
Yeah, he's like,
that's
I
insane.
guess that was only like 2022. I'm saying that like it's been about 10 years. It's not. He would have been like 3 playing UR2D. I don't think that's possible. Also the discard mods would remove you because that's happened before because if you're underage. Anyway, enough yap, but yeah, we've done enough about
Hey,
that.
hey,
Journeyman League.
hey.
Journeyman League. Let's go. Season 17B. I guess we got to talk about him again. Sash. Absolute annoyance, dominance. I had a, I was sort of, I don't really want to talk much about myself, but I was, I guess, his main title rival this season. We had some fun battles. Unfortunately, I just missed the Novo Planner race and was too inconsistent throughout the season. And he is just absolutely incredible. I'm trying to watch my language because, as you can see, what I've got on my notes here about Sash, I probably shouldn't say that, but it is a very good thing. He is also a pretty nice person. We've talked a lot about him already, so I guess we just
Yeah.
keep this section short and sweet,
Wait, before
like
that,
my title hopes.
before
Anywho,
we move
yeah.
on,
Uh-huh.
yeah, like for your from your perspective, right? How was your first season of commentary, and how was your first season, or like your first season competing for the title in JL?
Um, it was fun. I think I didn't really. I sort of towards the start of the season. I've always, even in life, like I've always been someone that's like your greatest worst enemy. I like always been like hard on myself, and I suppose it sort of carried over onto this game as well because Manbergo saw that at the start of last season with ESV that I was just like always. I made one mistake and just couldn't get back into it because I would be in my head. I would be like completely screwing up. But between you and Manbergo, I've sort of been able to get better at that and sort of like if I make a mistake, I'm able to get back up, which I made plenty of last season. Don't get me wrong, but it was pretty fun because like the fact that this is, I mean, this game literally got me into racing within this year, so I have
Hmm.
zero. I've not just had to learn like a game. I've had to learn a sport, so my learning curve to this game has been a lot longer than most people. So it's good to sort of.
Hmm. I see. And like with with commentary, I want to go back to commentary a little bit. So obviously, it's first time commentating, right?
Sorry,
Like in your
sorry.
first race,
Someone came into my room.
no stress,
We
no
can
stress.
cut it there or something. I'll go. I don't even remember what I was saying. The edits,
Oh, my bad.
the beauty of cuts. What was I even saying,
And
man?
about, I think it was about, my memory retention is quite atrocious
Yeah,
these
me
days
too.
when it comes to crypto. Yeah, it's the effect of, or some say it's the
I
effect of
don't know where we
social
cut
media,
this
but I
now.
want,
Then that's kind of fucked over the whole thing a little bit. I guess. Do you want to
it's
ask? Do you want
okay.
to just ask the question again, and we just go from there? I guess.
Yeah. Like, wait, yeah. So with AR, right? You obviously did commentary for the first time. And I think within the UR2D2 server, there may be some people who are also looking into doing commentary and being in that space, right? So for you, what would you say based on your first season of experience to somebody who's new to commentary? What advice would you give them?
I mean, I guess just like if you're like me and like not a social person, I guess like not very little social skills. I guess just get out your own head because like the first time I was going to be commentating, I was like, it sounds stupid because I mean it's a 2D racing game, but I was shaking like
Yeah.
even the first time I joined like a VC on the game to play. I mean, Among Us. It's not exactly like I'm doing an actual F1 race. Just talking on the server
Mm,
for the first time, I was like I was crapping myself because it's like it's people you don't know, but it is actually good in that sense. So I guess just enjoy it, I guess, because it's
yeah.
it's really it's at the end of the day, it's not that deep. Like I was like, oh, what if my commentary's not good? What if people don't like it? At the end of the day, as long as you don't shout profanities, you're doing a pretty good job. Like you know, you just gotta you just gotta look at what's going on, and if you're if you're a yapper like us, Matty Mara would be good at commentary actually, because he can yap a lot. But I guess
Uh,
just out your own head a little bit more and just enjoy it, because it is really fun to do.
no, definitely. No, definitely. Because I remember like when I did my first UR2D commentary gig, and this was like the season finale as well for UL at Valencia. And it was so crazy because obviously, right, we don't see anyone and they don't see us. But you've got so many people in the like so many people in VC just listening to you. So now like I'm also quite I want to say anxious.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if it's the right word to use. But I do. Oh, I think more in the past, I've panicked under pressure, and I've like when pressure comes to me, I break down. So now I'm sitting there and I'm feeling all like I'm I'm watching every word that I'm saying because I don't want to make a mistake and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So now, like race goes, and every time I catch myself making a mistake, it's a bit like what you said, where it becomes a big thing, where you kind of, uh, in a way, overcorrect, but also think about it a lot. So then, because of that mistake, you kind of almost lose focus. I was very lucky not to lose focus that day. But sometimes it gets very awkward, especially when there's nothing really happening on track, or you don't know what to say, or the action is going just a bit too quickly for your minds to comprehend, or for your minds to turn words that are in your head
Yeah.
into words that come out of your mouth. So, yeah.
I think that's something I've found a lot as well to see. I feel like if you watch any AL race over the last 2 seasons I commentated on, it was like I can commentate very well throughout all the boring bits and like fill the science. But see, at the start of the
Yeah.
race in Austria, I believe it was, I was commentating with Kiato, who is a different story. But I was commentating with him, and it was going pretty well. Turn one, lap two, lag rocket, and I just like I think it was just I just nervously laughed throughout that whole sequence, and then when it calmed down a bit, I was like, oh, I'm a human, I'm alive. I gotta commentate and stuff. Like I think any point
Hmm.
during my commentary, if anything like really eventful happens, it's just like this nervous laugh of just I don't know what's going on. I can't commentate this bit, and then I start
Yeah.
again. So I guess that's something. Solo commentating for the first time was weird as well because that was
Oh,
like
yes. Tell us about it.
you can't do that, and that was quite fun doing that in Monaco, and Monaco provided a lot to commentate on, which is a separate story. I'm so surprised there was no reports after that. I think everyone was just too depressed to report anything on that. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, it is fun, and even though it's like a 2D game, it does actually like help, I guess, with just
Yeah.
talking more.
Definitely, definitely. And plus, like, I'm not sure if you found it the same. But it also kind of helps with confidence
Mm.
because yeah, it's like now, if you can do it in front of strangers, you can go and do it in front of people, although that's a whole other story for another day, of course.
Tell that's
For
yeah,
another
that's for a different podcast. I think that's that's yeah, that's tell me about it. Yeah, that is a whole different ball game, but yeah, it is fun, and like just talking to people from all over the world is cool. But the so going back to what you were saying earlier, like you don't know what anyone looks like. I guess it kind of goes against everything you were taught as a kid of like stranger danger and stuff. But it's actually okay because it's like you're not giving away any information, and like not knowing. Like I talk to the people on this server more than like a lot of my friends in real life, and I
really,
have no idea what they look like. I just know where they're from and what they sound like. Like it's so
yeah.
weird. Like the whoa, okay, one voice crack out of one so far. We'll see how many by the end of the podcast.
Will count.
Oh,
Will
for God's
count.
sake. Yeah, let me put a little one out of one so far. Tally mark this. Anywho, yeah, it is very strange not knowing like what people look like, and you talk to them so much. But it is, I guess, it's not better. It's just also it's not a problem. I guess it is also quite cool just to have a different place for like racing stuff than real life. We need
Yeah.
to get back onto UR2D. Holy crap! So let's stop talking about Sash because we've been talking about him for far too long and go on to another bias section on Mika to Mika. I've probably already said this. I can't remember where we are. I think me and you have already got early dementia. Anyway, Mika, again, an amazing season in JL as he did in AL. I think just again the progression throughout the last couple of seasons has been insane, and I know you'll have a lot to say on this topic, so I'll let you go.
You know what? I think I'm not sure whether if I want to save it for the CL section, if I want to.
Ultimate bias with Mazar as well. Then, oh god,
Absolutely. But one thing I will say though is, dude, the title fights was insane this season, eh? And you guys were in the thick of it too.
I'm aware. Yeah, it was pretty insane from an outsider perspective. As the person that was part of it, it was maybe less exciting and more mind-numbingly sad, but it was pretty interesting to be
Mhm.
part of. It's better than a dominant season, I guess, and I'm not banned because I missed the Brazil race as well, so I'm really happy about that as well.
Hey.
So next season we go again, and if another mobile driver comes up and wins by 13 seconds, I'm retiring from the league and the podcast. So you might not see me next season. I guess if we're saving Mika to Mika, we can move on to the other drivers, which I'd like to mention Lexus again because it's pretty much the same story of like he was qualifying in the front row sometimes like P2, P3, and in the race just falling back. He had an amazing race in Indonesia and Bali. He, the rain call it came, everyone pit and it was a fake rain and Lexus stayed out. He absolutely smashed that. So he ended up with a 7 second gap. It was insane. Like he had such a good race. That rain call was, whether or not it was meant or not, I'm not sure, but it was an amazing call, and he got a very very well deserving win after that because again, going back to the thing we said about him in AL, same with Axis, the pace is there. Like they're qualified so high up and then just dropping back a little bit. I saw it in Monaco. I was racing him and it was just like he's trying not to. I was behind him in Monaco in P4. He was in P3. He was on a little bit more warm tires, and he didn't
Yeah,
really want to defend that much, and he ended up making a mistake after that that let me through. It's it
yeah.
really like unfortunately, obviously in the racing sense, like you're locked in on just trying to get past, but when you actually like watch the replay of it, and it's like if you just defended a little bit more, he would have gotten the podium. It's a little bit it's quite sad, but something they will definitely work on in the coming seasons, which will be good to see because they can all be top drivers.
Mm. No, definitely, definitely. And honestly, I will say, this is a bold claim, but I will say that drivers who try to keep it clean, and emphasis on try, because there are a lot of people who, yeah, at first glance, it's exciting to kind of like force your way through because it makes for action and overtakes. But then it costs people, especially people who try to keep it clean. So those who try and keep it clean, like Lexus, who we've mentioned, I feel like they definitely deserve a lot more credit for trying to make the game somewhat. Oh, this sounds bad, but trying to make the leagues more playable for other people who race against them. Because I think it's been I think this season in particular, and I think when we go on to CL, that might even be another topic. this season in particular has been very interesting with the driving standards. But it's not just that, but it's also like the whole thing of because of how it's been to drive in leagues like CL, it makes it very difficult for somebody to want to come back onto the game for that league because if you're going to be surrounded by drivers who have very little regard for you, for where you are, who you are. No, no, not who you are, but where you are on the circuit, and to go in and, yeah, basically win at all costs in that sense. I think it makes for a very unenjoyable experience compared to times like where you can battle, where you can actually, where it's two of you respecting each other on the circuit. So
100%.
yeah.
I have deleted the game 2 times over this CL season because of CL. I can confirm it is a bollock to drive in because there is, and it is so refreshing. See when you drive, probably this is again going far too forward in this, but I'm gonna go off on a tangent again. The best person that I have ever raced against in the leagues is Jake Brad because he done
Yeah,
he done two comeback drives in UL, and like we were in a VC together. He is just like he's one of like the funniest, nicest people ever, and like he's just there to have fun. He's very much there because it's a game and he enjoys the game. So racing against him,
yeah,
there's no toxicity. He respects your bounds. He does get his elbows out, but he also like if you're on better
yeah.
tires, he'll let you pass somewhat easily without ruining his own race. He's just like the funnest person to race against. We need more people
Mm,
like him in the leagues.
mm.
People like Lexus, people like Axis. I
100.
I try to be like that myself, but I feel like towards the end of the season I maybe got a bit too aggressive just through annoyance of CL.
Bali,
Oh.
Bali Island, Monaco.
Shut up! Shut up! I don't want reported. Shut up! Monaco as well a little bit, but those were just like switchbacks. I was quite proud of that race actually, but yeah, like
Mm.
people like that are the people who sort of save the league from just coming an all-out war zone because it can get like that at points, especially CL. CL's the worst for it, but like it is what it is. It's part of the game, and people keep coming back. But it's just for how long do they keep coming back as well? Because it's like
Mm.
it does play on you a little bit, and it makes you lose a little bit of motivation. Because it's like you can have the pace to be in the top five, top six, and then you just get stuck behind one little dirty son of a, you know. And
Hey, hey, hey,
yeah,
hey,
yeah, yeah. I
hey,
know.
hey,
I'm
hey,
watching. I'm watching.
hey.
I watched.
I'm kidding.
You just get stuck behind someone, and it's just like it just ruins your race, and it ruins your mood. It ruins the races that come after. It's like, and it's after them where you want to delete the game and just like not participate in the leagues. And I know we'll maybe touch on when we get to the UL section. You leaving the leagues for, I guess, partially that reason, but mainly lag, which we can see by
Yeah.
in the post editing and views watching. If at any point Yua sounds like a robot, you'll see that because he is very much on like 200 ping when he races, which is a little bit unfortunate because you could be like up on the podium if you didn't have that ping. But again, we'll touch on that in a little bit because we went on off on another tangent. We're still on the JL section. Jesus Christ, we need to um who next? I guess Fede deserves a little mention because he is again another driver that I fought quite a few times through JL and CL, and he is a pretty quick driver. A little bit inconsistent, I guess, but on his day, he is a very quick driver. Got two P2s in JL. He is just a very good driver. Missed a couple races, or else he would be up there in the top three, most likely. Just again, another driver that's came up from mobile. Therefore, another driver that many people don't like that much because there is very much. We talk about CL toxicity. What about the toxicity between PC and mobile leagues? It's insane sometimes.
Oh, oh, oh. I will say, I will say that I've actually, I'll put a word in for Fede. I will put a word in for Fede today because I have raced against him in lobbies, and usually I like battling with Fede. I won't lie. He gets his elbows out, and I think sometimes there's the whole trailer thing where sometimes your trailer like you're here, but your trailer's there. So then they see your trailer, but not necessarily like they can't see you, and then sometimes you get edited off. But honestly, besides that, when I'm side by side with Fede on his screen, it's usually it's usually a very nice battle. But he's incredibly quick. That's one thing I will definitely say. And I think I think yeah, no, I've blanked out again. I've blanked out again. But no, one thing for sure is he's incredibly quick, and it's going to be very exciting to see how he progresses, especially in future seasons if he decides to race.
Well, I actually signed for his mobile second league team a couple of days ago.
Ooh,
Raced in AMRL for the first time and left that server as quick as possible because that was the most painful
really?
experience of my life. Oh my god, that was horrible. That was like
Yeah.
it's insane. You think CL's dirty? Times that by about 40. It's like like they don't they I feel like obviously not all drivers because there is people that are clean in that league, but there is a vast majority of them that are just no mercy, will just kill you at every opportunity, leave zero space on the track. Like it gets pretty bad. But again, not everyone. I really don't want to pin all of them to just a small group of people who sort of ruin
Hmm.
it for the likes of me with not the attention span for that league, I guess. But anyway, we're not here to talk about mobile and my mental stability on this game. We're, I guess, last couple people we've got to mention on the JL section. Sunday Driver is sort of a driver that goes quite under the radar. Doesn't really talk much in the leagues. Doesn't talk much in the chats. I mean, and he just sort of turns up pretty like every race and is just consistent. Like he always gets the top 10 in JL, always gets up in the top 8 the majority of times, scores good points. He's just a very reliable, very quick driver. He can get his can be a little bit dirty at times, but I think a lot of the time the more I've raced him, I've realized he's just actually quite a good driver, quite a fun driver to race against. He is
Yeah.
a he is a pretty cool person. I guess like he is Finnish. They're not exactly known for their small talk, but he is a pretty cool person. But the couple of times I've DM'd him, and he also makes pretty good tracks. It's another thing I've noticed. Um,
Yeah.
Last person in JL is Mill, the person I've been teammates with for 2 seasons is sadly retiring this season. Just no more
Hmm.
motivation for the leagues after quite a substantially long career. Won AL last season, with again pretty much dominance. Not as much dominance as Sash, but that's impossible. With a very good season indeed. It'll
Hmm.
be quite sad to see him go, but if it's no longer fun at the end of the day, it's a game, so you don't gotta race if you don't want to.
Ooh. You know what, sir? I want to know, how does it feel as a teammate to have your teammates retiring?
I'm not gonna lie, I saw it coming. Like it's he is again one of the funnest people to be in a race VC with, because like he is very funny, and it's like, but towards the end of the second part of or the second season I was teammates with him, it was just like you could just see like he wasn't talking as much, he wasn't making as much jokes, and he was just getting like mad at races, and
Oh
he
yes.
just lost all motivation for racing in the leagues, just with like people maybe getting a little bit too aggressive with him, or him just not being able to cope with the, I guess, dirtiness of some drivers. But again, he said he might come back to the occasional race, so we can hope for that because he is a very cool person to race with.
Mm, no, definitely. Although, whoa. Whoa, no! If you're listening to this, Bali Island, man, the whole time was criminal. That was criminal. Wow. But jokes aside, nah, Mill's an entertaining person. Actually, very hilarious. Very hilarious. So, yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna be a
I
big
prefer
miss
not to
to
speak
see.
on Bali. I don't want to speak on any of the antics he may have gotten up to in Bali. I feel like that's probably not.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's he can get his elbows out sometimes as well, and I mean it works because he's not gotten any penalties up to yet, and he has gotten good performances in the leagues to date. I guess it's time
Yeah,
to move on to CL, and we'll save Mazur for last because I feel like that segment could get
yeah,
long. Um, I think the elephant in the room with CL this season has been the inactivity. Like it's I I'm the teams and drivers thing where you see the main drivers for all the CL teams, all the UL teams, all the JL teams. I don't think that was
yeah.
stuck to for any single team throughout the whole
Mm,
season except Mazur because
to an extent, to an extent.
it was like no one really stayed consistent. I mean, VLP they they were a very dominant team with pretty much 1-2s in every race. They only missed a couple races. They stayed consistent. SRA Sash was there pretty much at all times, although he actually struggled in that league quite a bit. I guess
Oh
just
no,
more battling. He was used to just dominance. Arbor. Oh, there's two voice cracks.
it's number
Love that.
two.
Yeah. Let me note that down. Awesome. Lovely. Arbor had, you know what, we'll talk about that later, but he didn't race all the races, same as Aussie. Aussie was pretty much podium every race up until race 6 when he retired, but he's back. There's three. Awesome. There's three now. Aussie retired on race 6, who he would have probably been the one out of anyone to sandwich the VLP drivers. If anyone could have, it would have been him. Because he had a very
Yeah.
good season as well. Other than that, like all the other teams, like mixed and matched between drivers. They ended up being more than 40 drivers on the final standings. It was insane.
100%. Oh, wait, what? Wait, let me check that. Wait, actually, maybe another time.
What?
Let's see. Was it 40?
41 drivers on the final
41.
standings.
Damn,
Yeah,
that's impressive. That's bloody impressive, man.
it's
Uh,
impressive for all the wrong reasons. Like it's pretty poor. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, I hear you. I hear you. And honestly, I think last season there were symptoms of it too, because towards the end of the season, I think not just in UL but in CL too, there were inactivity was becoming a little bit of a plague, if I remember correctly. Although I might be switching UL and CL around, but I do remember inactivity becoming a little bit of an issue towards the end of last season. And with regards to Ozzy as well, I think F1 fan. First things first, I think we have to give him his props because he was fantastic
Mm,
this season.
he was amazing.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely. We even had like a tie for P1 at what's it called? Scarlet between himself and Ozzy.
Mm,
But like I think when you look at the standings as well, and I think we also have to give credit to the likes of Bituko, etc., who were on the ball from the start. You know what? This CL season has been interesting in many ways. I think you've got a combination of drivers who may have started midfield as like midfield CL, I mean UL drivers, or like maybe even like UL drivers towards the back. And slowly but surely, if you look at them, you've got like F1 fan, you've got Aussie, you've got Crustinates, you've even got Cola, you've got Pitu. These are drivers who are competing like more towards the top end of the midfield, like they're towards the top of the midfield, or they're right with the front group. And even last season's like CL champion Johnny Fu, who I think we'll probably get to in UL as well.
100%.
He, yeah, he's like right there now. He's right there now, and I think one thing that has I think that's one thing that's kind of surprised me in a way. How I think I don't know if it's because they're all doing both U or most of them are doing both UL and CL together instead of just CL. But the level as the season's gone on has been pretty damn good.
Mm.
Pretty damn good actually. So even though we've not got the attendance a lot of the time, the level in CL has, I think, risen as time has gone by because we've also got the gamer who's now who's now thereabouts. He's within that top 10 region in UL. We've got Alice who's joined recently, who's already there as well. You've, I think, this CL field, when you look at the names that have been in it, right? I think it's been quite something to witness. It has been quite something to witness.
Yeah, it's definitely been a very interesting season. I feel like it is very much the top drivers are UL drivers and the bottom drivers are JL drivers. There's no CL drivers. I suppose the one CL
Yeah.
the one only CL driver who for server sakes we won't go into too much has been Kyato, and I feel like even though with the controversy that's happened in the last bit, you've got to give him some sort of props for being a pretty good driver in those leagues. Got very unlucky, got killed a lot, and got
Yeah.
quite aggressive towards the end of the season because of that, and just like set a DNF and stuff like
Mm.
that. But I mean, he was up there fighting, just got a bit unlucky. Maybe he couldn't just handle the aggression that the CL League causes. But I guess he was the really only CL driver, which is again probably another advocate for going back to just 3 leagues. But I don't know. The activity seems to be coming up quite a bit more, which is good.
Definitely. Definitely. It's been pretty it's been pretty interesting to see, and I think next season we've got so much to look forward to too.
Yes, it will be a fun season. It will be a very fun season. I guess now on the CL section, I can't think of too much to mention because like the only really standouts have been the VLP, Aussie, and Dog Gamer sort of thing. I think Dog Gamer will be
Oh,
most likely the favourite for next season. Um, I suppose
yeah.
Alice, Starlight Alice, coming back to the league's done 2 races and finished third in one of them, is looking very, very, very quick. I would like to say myself towards the
Yeah.
end of the season, but whether or not that happens, we will wait and see because it is a very, very talented field. So,
You've got to make it happen. I'm putting pressure on you. You yeah. No, jokes
and I
aside.
now confirm my
Yeah, I think
retirement from the UR2D leagues.
actually that's a perfect like segue into what I wanted to talk about. And that's about like Matzo as a whole, you
Oh,
know?
here we 40. Get ready
Because
for the next 40 minutes, guys, of Mazur talk.
oh goodness. No, honestly, I'm gonna try and keep it as short as possible. But I think this season has been so interesting from like a team principal perspective because I think obviously it's Matzo, right? It's not so. And I think we've gone through a bit of a rebuilding phase in that sense. So the results haven't exactly gone to plan. But I think this is the one season where I can like 100% say that what I've seen off the track and obviously the results, they don't necessarily match because it has been fun. It has been
Mm.
fun. Like, I think beginning of the season, I think I wanted to I wanted to try something new with regards to being a team principal as well. And just experiment with ways in which to make the game fun for us, you know? Because obviously, as I've said a lot of the time, I've not really been enjoying myself. So yeah, I've been exploring ways to make it fun, and I think the biggest part, and also shout out to Man Big Goat because he's also joined us and helped us a lot in so many ways
Mm.
this season. But with regards to you and Mika in particular, and Go 14 too at the beginning of the season, and even Mason at some points. It's been uh, it's been a year of exploration, and I think beyond the league, it's helped me realize that you know what, damn, I can actually take charge of something, you know, and yeah, it's like I think there were so many ideas that went into it. You'll know about it. Mika will know about it, and it's like you know, it showed me off the track that there's so much that we can actually do with this game. There's so much that we can actually do with this game, especially to make it not just a fun experience, but an enjoyable experience for people. Because I don't know about you, but I was enjoying it.
Yeah,
I was
it's been
enjoying it.
fun.
Yeah, it's other than that, the progress has been crazy because I remember you guys both struggled a bit at the beginning of the season. I think Mika had the advantage, the season opener, and then you sort of came back afterwards in Foster League, although the strategy kind of screwed you over. And then obviously, like it was building. Scarlevel came, and we did a bit of a change, which I mean,
Helmet Marco. Oh, I think I've got some in my
yeah,
mouth here.
helmet. Yeah, that was a very interesting experience
Uh huh.
from like a team perspective, you know, because it's like first time handling something as complex as having to deal with the ramifications of my own decisions. You get me? And then the whole town where you spoke about wanting not to or like wanting to take a back step for some time, and then I was like, I spoke to Mika as well, and then we obviously spoke about the plan of who was gonna come in, and you guys were sort of about to be the reserves in that sense. And then, like, there was a whole lot of mixing, a whole lot of matching, but eventually, I think we got the desired result where we get to keep you, and we nearly kept Mika as well. Nearly kept him, and then we could have gone and built on what we like started with. But obviously, real life took over, and I think towards the end of last season, we just made sure to just make the most of it because the time was so fun. And now we've got Mason coming in, we've got Nick Hill coming in as well. And it's I think this season's still going to be an absolute banger where we build on from what we built last season. And I couldn't have done that without you, no Mika.
Oh,
And Go as well, and Manbig Goat and Mason, but I think the primary ones were you and Mika. Yeah,
it was definitely a fun season. It was, and I very much agree with what you said. The results didn't match the practices we had, I guess, because like we got unlucky in places. I think consistent, like say, was probably me and Mika's main sort of lack. I guess just too many little mistakes.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, but it was a fun season, and I'm looking forward very much to next season as well because that will be very fun. Also, Mason, I am now teammates with him in UL and CL, so that is going to be very interesting.
Hey,
Yeah, and
history's about to be made, eh?
maybe I gotta sign him in JL as well. Then why not? We will see. I'm not giving anything away because contracts have not opened yet. I think that is all from CL. Then should we move on to UL?
Indeed. Indeed. Let's get it. And you know what? Before we move on to UL, I want to say something about VZS. Bro, bro, bro.
Uh huh.
Damn, you're fast. You're fast. You're fast as hell. Brother. Hey. You could have formed part of our little quintet. I'm just saying, you could have formed part of our little quintet. Although I don't know if our drivers would have gotten along after everything that happened during the season, during the AL and JL seasons. But you know what? Good Bobcat, and we wish you the best. And we're
No,
gonna
we don't. I
fight.
hope you
We
you
shoot.
crash. No, obviously not.
So real. So yeah, but yeah, onto UL we go.
Yeah, we kind of got shafted by a couple of drivers there, but it's fine. We got Mason. Anywho, UL, without
Okay.
going into that too much. Mm,
Oh
yeah.
yes.
I guess first of all, again, the inactivity of the leagues was a big talking point.
Ooh,
However, I don't want to focus too much on that because next season is going to be insane with activity. Although we're not giving anything away yet because we will do a preview of next season probably next week, maybe even this week if I can be bothered. Um,
oh
talking for
yes.
this long again. Um, that will be a very exciting season, but the inactivity has been a pretty substantial problem. I mean, again, just under 40, like literally just under 40. There was 39 drivers in the final standings. Like
Nice.
when
I mean, no, actually, it's not nice. It's not
it's
nice.
not nice at all. When you think there's 18 drivers, main drivers in a season, you would maybe expect them all to use the reserve couple times because that's what a reserve's for, isn't it? That's still only 27 drivers. Where the hell are the rest coming from? Like, it's the inactivity is pretty, really poor. Like, it definitely needs to be fixed, but fixed it will be next season because I know the lineups for next season and it is insane. So we should see a lot more activity next season.
Yeah, I feel you. You know what? I'd actually argue that the inactivity from this season, yeah, it's a little bit more than in previous seasons. Although I think especially if you compare it to last season where there were barely any numbers on the grid towards the end. I'd say in that regard, it's it's been better over the course of the season because uh, last season it was like even before the season started, like there was a big struggle for like let's say your team links where Suicide tried to
Oh
sign
God.
drivers and Suicide tried tried his best to sign drivers that and yeah there was barely anyone and it
Yep.
started from last like end of last season where people were not like I think at one stage we only had like 12 drivers at like Tatra, maybe 11 because I did quali but I could not start. So we only had like 11 drivers at Tatra in Poland. So I think this season has been a huge improvement on whatever we saw last season. Although I think there are issues between JL and CL have kind of flipped, where CL's the one suffering a little bit, and then, well, not JL, UL, I meant. And UL is the one that's on the upward trajectory compared to the previous season.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like again, we're seeing that now. There's people returning. Um,
Oh,
I'm trying really hard not to talk about it, but I'm really excited for next season. It's going to be really fun in UL, and hopefully CL can get a bit more activity as well. But UL definitely
definitely.
will. I mean, it is good that there's always places filled on the grid. It's just maybe not by the right people, because it should be the team's drivers, I guess. And if not, like, I think the team's
Yeah,
inactivity is probably the biggest thing on that. I mean, look at Lynx again. They couldn't even get drivers to sign for them. People didn't want to sign. I've now taken over team principal at Lynx, and trust me, I know how hard it is to sign people. I'm trying to, with my best efforts, trying to sort of revive the team a little bit with activity. I made a server and stuff, then got told there was already a server that I've been in the team over a year, not over a year, over a season, and I didn't know about the server. That was fun to find out about. So we've
yeah,
got we've got my new server, we've got, active drivers, which was the main again, like I was told, um even last season, like I was the one that managed to get Cola to sign, and then like whenever we had gaps, whether it be Cola that couldn't race or myself that couldn't race, like finding reserves and stuff, it's pretty fun being a team principal. Or, well, I wasn't even team principal at that point, but it is pretty fun doing like the role of that. It is quite fun, like
yeah,
finding people. Although it can get a little bit stressful when you're 1 hour to a race and don't have a driver. That was fun. Um, but enough about links, I guess. I think the main person we got to talk about here, or the main two people we got to talk about here, is JT and Figo, because like, what the hell? They're just insane. Um, JT winning race 1 to 6, Figo winning race 7 to 10. Figo wasn't racing race
yeah.
1 to 6 really. JT was really racing race 1 to 6, and then I guess when Figo came back, lost a little bit of motivation. They two are just in like it's robotic watching them race. It's like I
Oof.
I I don't really
Yo,
I'm doing what you were doing. I don't have the words right now, but like it's it's so
yeah,
like alien for me watching the race to think that you can be as good as that, because like when I do a race, I'll maybe have 2 good laps and I'll make a little mistake on one lap. Then I'll be a little bit slower, then a little bit faster. You watch their lap time and it's like the exact same, the exact same, the exact same, and it's like 2/10 off
bro,
world record when they're on soft. It's insane how good these people are, and like
it's
you can
madness.
see that because JT won UL very very dominantly. Figo is, and obviously no diminishment to the other drivers, but you see when Figo is there in practices, he is the driver to beat. And I think JT and Hernande will have a very, very difficult job doing that next season.
Yeah,
And like, if he is beatable, I still don't know, because the only races I've ever seen him do, he's won. So, but like JT also incredible drives this season with his, I believe, second World Drivers' Championship, or is it third?
indeed. Yeah, no, it's the second. We've actually got like that whole trident of Nandi, JT, and Fico now on three. So, I mean, on two. So it's actually kind of poetic if you think
I
about
know.
it. Very like written in the
We got to
stars.
see next season who actually is the best driver, because you're going to see all three of them on the grid at the same time. Hopefully, all active as well on all the races. Hernande as well. Always got to shout him out. Second in the championship, just an absolutely amazing driver. I feel like with JT and Figo, they have to do less practice to get the results, whereas Hernande does like over 1,000 laps per race weekend,
Yeah,
and which is insane. And he is as good as them, but he has to do more practice to get there. I guess that's just life, though, and like you don't people can put in 10% and do get the same results as you do, put in 100%. That's just life. And Andy is really, really thriving under those 1,000 laps per race, which I don't understand how he's got the mental capacity to do. Um, but yeah, he is a very good driver as well. Phantom as well, really good season. I think he also lost motivation towards the end of it, and you see that now because he's
Oh, boy.
unfortunately retired. So, yeah, I feel like with that old boy, you maybe have something to say on that topic.
Yeah, no, you could definitely see it with Infanta. I think, especially towards the end of the season, because like you could see that the joy was not necessarily there as
Mm.
much as maybe it used to be. Because remember, like back, he, no, like I think he, when you can sense that somebody's looking more forward to races, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can sense that somebody's looking a little like that somebody's actually like eager to drive and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that spark, like as the season went on from Fanta, it diminished massively. So I think even actually going back to the likes of JT and Figo, I wanted to say it's actually incredible what we've witnessed. And when it comes to things that, like nostalgia and things that we reminisce upon, it's going to be something like that in the future where we look back and let's say UR2D2 is still running and there's still the league. It's going to be something that we look at and it's like, damn, how were those days like? How was it like having JT go and win freaking 9 races in a row? And then Figo, I don't know if that was out of spite or what, so he can say if it was. But then suddenly coming in and saying, no, your streak ends with me. And just having that back and forth, and then having Hnandi like come in and even Fantomir as well come in and then sometimes like do all that they can to both displace the top two and then occasionally take victories and stuff like that. I think when we look back at this era, I mean, I will say that you know what, like, hey, I'm gonna be biased. I'm not the biggest fan of the cars, but I
I
think
would
when it
never have
comes,
guessed that about you. Never.
no one would have guessed that ever. But when it comes back to things that we'll look at and remember because of the history and things that we might not even see again in that same proportion,
Mm-hmm.
going and taking nine wins in a row is bonkers.
It is mad.
And then, yeah, and then having that streak snapped by the guy who previously held the record of like 6 in a row, whew, that is, it's absolutely insane when you look at it.
It was definitely spite. Let's be honest. And like even 6 in a row is insane. But JT, like, he deserves massive, massive credit for it because like he is just insane at this game. It's like also like the practice that they all put in is insane. But they're also actually like really nice people. I guess like if you would expect like
Yeah,
in if this wasn't a 2D racing game, if this was like actual racing, the people towards the top, they have like this sort of superiority complex of like, oh, I'm better than you. They wouldn't, like they just
yeah,
a little bit stuck up, a little bit like if they were chocolate, they would eat themselves. They're really not like that. They're like some of the nicest people on the server, and like talking to
definitely.
all of them, even as like a as myself as a JL driver, they all help. They've all helped at points with Figo. Like I've asked him for strategy help at points, same as JT, and they're all like happy to give it. They're all really good people as well as being just stupidly quick.
Definitely. And I think that's one thing that's actually surprised me a little bit about the server because I think back when I came in, I was a little bit, I won't lie, I was nervous interacting with people.
Mm-hmm. Me
But
too.
yeah, yeah, no, 100%. Because it's like that feeling of how are they going to receive me, and like things along those lines, and even like taking parts in mocks when I still used to just do mocks. Oh, sometimes it's like, or like the first mock I remember because they were the likes of Kuba and Anti Amazing, and I think Permusius as well.
Oh wow, you're
And I think
old.
Gamer too. I don't. Yeah, we're old out here.
Oh wow, I'm forgetting
So,
you've been in the server for so long. Cause like, some of those names I've never even like seen in the server before.
hey, it's the 10th season now. I think that it's been here. Didn't even realize it until recently. So yeah, I think you look at those names and you look at what they've achieved, right? And sometimes in real life, you'll get people who have achieved it all, but then you reach out, you branch out, and it's very snobby. But it's not been like that at all. It's been like, oh, for me at least, and I think for you as well.
Mm.
It's it's been it's not really been like this. People are very fun to communicate with. I remember having like a whole, I don't know if it was a 1 hour or 2 hour, like almost like a podcast thing with Nuno in the VC where we just discussed all different types of topics. And he's like, how many time champion? And I'm
Six.
like, yeah, 6 time champion. And at the end of the day, I think it shows that like you strip away the achievements and everything like that. We're all just humans, and we all look to connect in some ways or in other ways. And yeah,
Yeah, they are. I was gonna say the same thing because I've had the same thing with Nuno as well. It's like I remember it because it was me, I believe, Guzzy Man were playing probably like Rocket League or something, and then Nuno joined and is like, this is the first time I've seen Nuno not in like UL commentary. I'm still relatively new to the server, and it's like, oh my god, Nuno, like 6 time world champion Nuno's joined. Oh crap! Like I gotta be like I don't know. It's like it does go through your head, especially as someone like this overthinker, maybe not the best in social situations. It's like your brain goes into panic mode, and then you just start
yeah,
talking. And then when Guzzy Man left, I think we were in the VC for probably like the same as what you said, like an hour or 2 hours, and he was just like going through like the history of the server, basically. And it was so
yeah,
funny. It was so fun, and like then you're like, oh crap, they are actually people that are just normal and just good at a game, kind of.
hundred,
It's
hundred
so
percent,
funny.
100%. And sometimes it actually translates to real life as well, where you get that feeling where you've got these absolutely astonishing people who've achieved so much in their damn lives, and then you feel so much panic because in your mind it's like they've achieved so much, so obviously they need to be around people who've achieved that same level, and then you speak to them and suddenly everything changes.
Yeah.
Everything changes, and instead of seeing them for the achievements, you kind of start to see them as like, as regular people. They're just regular people. Because just like us, they are people. They look for connection. And you strip away the achievements, you strip away like a lot of those things that sometimes are very arbitrary. And what the heck is in the background? Oh my soul. The neighbors have gone rogue, but yeah, no, at the end of the day, I think that's one thing I love about this server where we all just get to connect in so many different ways beyond the racing.
Yeah, it is. It is very. What the hell is going on inside your house? I have no idea. That's very strange. Um,
Neighbors.
I have no idea what they're doing, but it is a very fun server. But I think someone we were talking about earlier who will be a very fun person to discuss is Johnny Fu.
Oh,
Absolutely
Johnny.
amazing. And he's the person that he's the first person I talked to in this server. He's the one that told me about the on like the PC game. And without talking about that too much,
Who
because
is it?
that's a whole different story, the way I got into this game. But he's the reason that I'm here. And then pretty much that whole day, he was just basically showing me the basics of. Because you got to remember, that first day, this is the first time I learned anything about racing, not just this game. So like he basically just showed everything. And then the same thing with like the same first person I spoke to in this server was like him.
Yeah.
And then I can't actually remember who else. Oh, that's quite bad, but it's been like 3 months now, which is kind of insane. But he is also just a very cool person. He's helped myself a lot. And then that Bali podium, that was awesome to see happen. Because, like,
Oh,
it's been coming for a long time. And, like, the photo finish as well with him and JT and Hernande and Phantom and stuff like that. That was so cool to watch on the replay.
yeah, absolutely. You know what? It's almost like there was like a passing of like the baton. I don't know.
Are you saying
I don't know
JT's
if you feel the
washed?
same.
Oh, wow.
No, 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 no. Not, no, no, no. No, I'm saying like I think in a way it's you've got that big four. You've got Phantom, you've got Candy, you've got
Oh, you're saying all of
JT and
them's
Figo.
washed?
What if I do? What if I say that?
Then you're gonna have a very angry JT in your DMs after this.
Nah, he's chilled. He's chilled. But yeah, in a way, it's like obviously we've got a large group of them. I think probably all of them might we might not even see them on the grid after, or like we might not even see them regularly after this upcoming season.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's almost like a passing of the baton where it's now. You know, it's like Johnny with that podium is like getting knighted, and it's like you know this is. I mean, we've done our job. Now you're part of us. Now it's down to you as our favorite Slovakian.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to any other Slovakians.
Yeah, Lexus.
It's down to you. Sorry, Lexus.
Yeah, Yua hates you.
Oh no, no,
Nah,
no, no,
Lexus
no,
is awesome.
no! Not this time! Not this time! Not this time!
I think he's the only
But
other
yeah, it's
Slovakian.
like
I think so.
I think so. Yeah, I think he's like I don't think there's anyone else aside from Lexus.
I'm
But
thinking about
yeah,
the League of
Johnny's.
Nations because there's a Czechoslovakia team because Kratishvili is Czech and then Lexus and Johnny are
Yeah,
Slovakian, but I don't think there's any others.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think hmm, unless I might, at least my memory is failing me as well. But yeah, back to Johnny quickly. I think you know this. I think this upcoming season is going to be his time to really show that you know what. I'm these guys. I've shown that I'm part of these guys, but now I can do it consistently. And even with someone like F1 fan who is, I mean, he's obviously making his move, right? He came from AL, JL, CL, and now UL. And he's obviously got now a title next to his name, three titles for that matter. Now he's he's almost like the next one in line to kind of push or try to push into that top group. We've got others in the like we've got others as well who are also trying to push into the front group, but by virtue of him being an Alice, let me know. Wait, can I say? No, no.
Just do it.
By virtue of him being an LSA, you know, it's his time to also shine and also kind of like join the top group. because I think there's the SCP effect, there's the LSA effect, where drivers who drive there suddenly become rockets.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
I'm still waiting from that DM for Hernando to become the next LSA driver, but it's not actually came through yet. But oh, there's four voice cracks. There we go. There's the fourth,
Oh,
even four. Anywho,
totally go with that.
I was gonna say something, but that voice crack just threw me off. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I actually debuted the same season as F1 fan in the PC leagues, which is kind of mad. And he's now
Hmm.
like one of the next people to take over from the big three in UL. But he also came
Yeah.
from mobile. He came from other racing games. So that's that's the only reason I'm not scoring podiums in UL right now. Honestly, it's all down to that. Not anything else. No, I'm joking, of course. F1 fans deserves like massive credit because he's been there like half the time of the other top drivers, and he is up there with the top drivers. It's very good. I think now
Yeah.
good segue onto the Flowforce other teammate Carvid is like
Oh, it's been.
so close yet so far to that podium. Three fourth place finishes, but his lag, man, like the 300 ping is just. I feel like it just sort of squashes any chance of a podium or of a win, because he was close. He was close in some races, and he is rapid. And I'm gonna excuse the fact that he called the latest track that I made gross from this, because I'm still hurt from that, Carver. If you're watching this he is rapid, and like you always see him on the time trials, but I feel like just the 300 ping just like does not allow him to get that awaited podium or win. He's had one in the past, but like it's so unlucky that he's got that much ping. Same issue as you is like if you didn't have that, you would be top UL drivers, and he is a top UL driver. That's the thing. So
Maybe.
imagine how good he could be if he didn't have that ping.
Yeah, and I think it's also going back to the whole thing of like respect on the circuit too, where I think one of the tough things is the hyping, and I think Corvid will be able to say everything about it. Is we've kind of got to expect people to not consider you. Wait, I might have to mute.
That's fine. But yeah, I guess in the midst of whatever is going on in a house in South Africa right now, we can move on to another driver I wanted to talk about just briefly, Flicks, who, if you look on it on the outside, he has an average race place of 3.8, but he only did 4 races. Like, this guy is insane. It's like this guy has the power to be UL champion. He just didn't feel like it today. And like if he does 10 laps and he's got world record on time trial, it is insane how good this guy is, but he just does not race. And again, trying not to talk too much about next season, but he is planning planning on racing much. He is planning on racing. Sorry, next season. So if he races consistent, he will be in like the top three, 100% pretty consistently. Like he is an insane driver on this game, and him and Figo next season is going to be like the probably one of if not the best lineups we've ever had. So you is back, so we can go back to Carvid if you want.
Awesome. Yeah, you know what? I think one thing about I think sometimes when you look at the results as well, especially with COVID, I think I think a lot of the time they do deserve a little bit more credit than they get. Like, well, those results deserve a bit more credit because, hey, when you're racing with hyping, it's every man for himself, every man and woman for themselves. So you have got situations where You kind of learn where people's trailers are, but they don't necessarily know or learn where yours are. So, yeah, it's not necessarily going to be so nice when you're at the front of the field, especially. Unless you may be starting on pole, but even then it can be a bit of an issue, depending on how quick or how aggressive the drivers next to you are. So with Corv, oh, 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 it's always very, very difficult to predict where he is. I think we can acknowledge that it's very difficult to predict where he is, and I think sometimes it makes for very unfortunate circumstances because COVID then ends up getting sent off or getting pushed off the track, which compromises Corv's race big time. So sometimes even like those P4s, they could easily be P1s because you look at any other car class, right? And Corvid is quick. With any car class, Corvid is quick. And I think that's when you know you've got a quick, quick, quick driver. When you can put them in another car class, all sorts of different car classes, and they will still shine.
Yeah,
And yeah, obviously it's quite unfortunate. It's very. It might even be hyping bias. Because knowing how it feels, it's like you kind of have to expect that people are going to take you off from now and then you've got to kind of like counteract that with how you like the ways in which you drive. But yeah, like otherwise, COVID would definitely be up there, and I think it'll be something to see next season. It will definitely be something to see next season.
100%. And it will be cool to see where he sort of matches out with so many top drivers and
Oof,
the majority of them on low ping as well. It will be interesting to see how much of a factor that is because you saw him still getting P4s and stuff, but we'll see if that sort of carries on into next season as well. We'll talk about that more in the preview of next season, I guess, as well. Um, Another driver
indeed.
or driver pairing, actually, I guess to talk about is Raikar, Matty Mar's team with
Oh
Tuchel.
yes,
A very interesting team because if you look at the results, maybe not the highest performing team. Like I guess
that's five.
somewhat.
That's number five. That's number five. Voice crack number five. You're not
Oh wait,
getting away with that
was
one.
there one? I didn't. Oh my!
Yeah, man.
There's so many. I don't even notice them anymore. But like a very strange team because if you look on the surface, they're not getting that amazing race results. But they're P5 in the constructors, Matty's P6 in the standards, and Batico's 10th.
Yeah,
And like the reason they're there is obviously like you don't want to take away so much from their performances because they are good, but a lot of it as well is just consistency of just showing up to the races and that just doing that and consistently getting, I suppose, in the top 10. You see how
yeah,
good they are, and like I saw that as well. I had terrible performances in UL. I was absolutely shocking, but I was pretty much at every single race, and that's the only reason I'm
yeah,
even somewhat high up in the standings in the order. Like that just shows the inactivity of the league, I suppose, which again we've talked about, so we don't need to talk about much more. But obviously, nothing to take away from their performances. They did have really good performances, and what would life be without Matty's post race interviews? It would be nothing. Um, like it again, it does just show the inactivity that like just showing up to every race and getting top tens means you finish fifth in the constructors. Now I think we have lost you, but we are on a strict time schedule, aka my food's gonna be here soon. So I'm gonna just move on until he gets back and talk about Aussie because he has had again a very, very, very amazing season. Just very unlucky that he did retire at race 6, but don't fear, he is back for next season. But we will talk about the races he did do because he got a fourth place finish, almost a podium, and two fifth places. He has had an incredible season, and he is looking even quicker onto next season. It is looking very, very good for Ozzy's career, the Polish man's career, and he is driving very, very well. I've gotten to. Oh, Youa has gone. He's left the VC. I think his internet is dead. Yep, I've had confirmation his Wi-Fi is disconnected. Are you back, Youa? No, he is not. Okay, we will wait a little bit. Ozzy is. Oh, oh,
The
he's here. Hello. Never mind, he's
hell?
dead again. Oh, he's back again.
Alright. Oh,
Hello.
yeah, that was. Yo.
He's alive. We were talking about Ozzy and how good of a season he has had so far, or had before he retired at least.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh no.
like, I think,
Oh yeah.
yeah, Ozzy's development. Oh no, not again. No, Ozzy's development has been fantastic. Like, I think we're just saying this a bit too often, but I mean, it's true. If it's true, it's true. It's like Ozzy came from. I still remember his first race, and Candy got very angry with him on that day at Phillip Island. So, like, I think it was bad, and I think even before the season started, he was, of course, involved in controversy because of comments that he made.
Oh, I've been told about this.
And
Yeah. Uh-huh.
oh, yeah, yes. But I
Mm.
think it's clear that if there's anyone who's learned from his mistakes, it's Ozzy.
Hmm.
And not just that, he's rapid,
He
to say
is
the least.
absolutely rapid,
Like,
and he did learn from his mistakes. I've been told. I wasn't there. I wasn't even part of this ever when that happened. But did he not message you afterwards and ask like why what he said was so bad and stuff?
yeah, he
Yeah.
messaged me, and it was interesting. He messaged me, and he I think because there were negotiations about a Matzo seat as well for the next season,
Ooh.
and I'm gonna leak our business, right? So F1 fan, I mean, like I responded very late to the whole transfer window, so Glo had left us. I'm an F1 fan. I discussed with him about the driver situation as well to see where we were going, and spoke about like we. I brought up the topic of Aussie, but then obviously incident happened. And F1 fan before that had said, you know what, if as long as I'm with Ozzy, then I will drive for you guys. And then the Ozzy incident happened, and Ozzy and I spoke afterwards. And it was like, it was more of a teaching moment for myself because it's like, like you can't be saying those things,
No.
You can't really be saying some of those things. So we spoke about it. He profusely apologized and has actually kept very well behaved since then as
Hmm.
well. And obviously, like we said, yeah, you're not going to get the seats. So then F1 fan left because he also had another offer on the table. And yeah, ever since then, Ozzy's been like he's learned very quickly with how to extract the most out of the car, and he's been fantastic. Like the development has been crazy, and I think that's one thing about the CL drivers from this season, where you look at the start and you look at the end, and you just see the crazy development and the crazy like growth in like you can point out any CL driver and you'll see it because they're closer and closer and closer to some of the top guys as well. You look at the mocks, the time trials, you look at the races, and it's made for actual like it's made UR2D too quite competitive in that sense.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah, it is a
I feel like
very. Oh, sorry.
yeah, yeah. So
Oh, my bad. It is like a very, I guess, not controversial. What's the word? Like prominent topic right now is the sort of whole aspect of the Challenger League. Is that it is meant to be its own league, but right now it's not. It is very much the bottom UL drivers versus the top JL drivers, and that's not what it should be because it is literally just that.
Yeah.
So it does sort of make it a little bit unfair, but it is what it is. It's getting somewhat good attendance, so it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Another person I wanted to talk about, which I'm not sure if you'll like or not, but we're doing it either way, is yourself, because
No.
you had
Oh no.
extraordinary pace this season, and I'm not just saying that because you're here. I've said that to other people as well. You were incredible throughout the season, but man, that 200 ping did not help. And like, I mean, you
Yeah.
DNF two races and then got that fourth place, which was incredible to watch. I was watching that so happily because obviously I'd known you and I'd known the two races that you DNF'd and like how much that sucked for you.
Yeah.
Just, I guess you're here, so we don't have to just speculate. Just talk us through that.
Mm, So, long story short, right? The issue was mostly about Wi-Fi. And it actually started in Turkey last season because that day I remember, like I started well, and then as the race went on, I started lagging quite a bit, and then Sayema obviously connection disconnected, or like connection was awful. It was just terrible. So ever since then, it's really been on a downhill spiral when it comes to the Wi-Fi.
Oh no.
So Austria had prepared, like, you guys saw it. I was prepared. I was prepared. Mocks, time trial, mocks, race pace, practicing wet weather pace. Because you know what? I felt like, I mean, I didn't feel like I was supposed to race this season, but I felt competitive, you know? I felt very competitive. For the first time in these cars, I felt comfortable. And then race day comes, qualified fifth. So, I mean, before that, I was already hoping that, you know what, I'm going to survive. I think it hits a little bit more front because obviously I called the weather correctly. And then, boom, teleportation station, we back again. And from the lead at DNF'd. And I think from that day, I've not really bothered with practice because I mean, I'm not a big fan of the cars anyway. And you know, yeah. Then Asuncion came as well. Asuncion was horrible, and even the end of Liga was terrible. Because I remember I was battling with Pituco, Gamer, and I was already having a pretty trash race. Boom. Second last lap, I started lagging. And I think I took Pituco off. I was in ninth at the time. I was battling for ninth. I think Gamer took it. Oh, no, Mati took it. And then I let Gamer through because I tried to let Pituco through because he was behind me because I took him off. So then I finished in 12th that day. And at this point, I was so over your 2D. You know, it's like you put in your best, you put in your damn best. And I think, and at times where you actually feel like you can do something, things kind of just go wrong. But then on times when you don't feel like you can do something, days like Kyalami happen, where it's like you freaking go in and, you know, you're just doing this for vibes. At this point, I made up my mind. You know, I don't really want to take part in UL anymore because I don't want to cost FPR, as they were called at the time, more points. And plus, I wasn't really enjoying it. I wasn't enjoying the idea of practice. I wasn't enjoying the idea of mocks as well. But obviously, the mock attendance and stuff like that has increased, but it's just felt too serious, you know? It felt way too damn serious. Now I'll go into Kyalami and obviously home race and everything like that. So it's a perfect way to end it because I started in Seattle, which was my first race in the server, as my very first race. Time goes, and like I'm so I'm like literally just I'm here for banter if I'm honest. And I qualified 12th, and I'm like, Yo, you can't be serious. You cannot be serious. But then again, I didn't really practice. So then when I came across the line in fourth, because I tagged onto JT's slip, and that's another thing I will get into. I tagged onto his slip, and then that moved me up the field. Second stint, I tagged onto Phantomy's and Andy's slip, and that actually helped me big time in even overcutting Aussie, because I had no business being up in P4. Yeah, I can tell you now, I had absolutely no business being up in P4. And I think that's also where my issues with Slipstream come in. So I've also been experimenting with solutions, as you will know, where it's like, you know,
Yeah.
I don't even have to be quick. Yeah, I don't have to be quick. I just have to be in a quick person slip and keep it on the damn track. If I've got that, then I've got my race. I can overcut the likes of Mati and Bituku even if they're looking quicker than me on a weekend. I can go and somehow be in the front group. But I think the biggest, like, where it pains you the most is when you lose out because of slip. And, strategy just kind of like bends into the same thing for everyone because everybody is just tagging on to one person. And obviously, you do preseason strats and stuff like that. You do, or not preseason strats, but pre-race strategy. Then it's like somebody can make their own strat, but then it turns into Tour de France where it's like there's a peloton or there's different pelotons and like there's different groups in the field, and everybody's just kind of trying to stick to somebody because if you don't, then you're screwed. But then that means people who try to stick to somebody, they don't want to lose out to others, especially to those with high ping because of the trailer differences. And then people go in and fly in like slide tackles. They try and get into somebody's slip. Sometimes they assume you're not in somebody's slip when you are. So then you get shoved off the damn track. And when you want to try different strats, you have to try the same strat as those ahead, especially if you're a bit slower, because if you don't, you will get left behind. And you kind of like, there's almost like a dive ball where it's like, if you make a pit stop, you can't, and you're taking an alternate strategy, or maybe you're trying to just hope for something. Your race will literally be decided by whose slipstream you have. And I'm not sure about anyone else, but personally, I am not a fan of that. So that's why I've been experimenting with a lot of solutions because I feel like it kind of like slipstreaming is its own strength, and that cannot be denied. But when the race is being decided by who's slip, and I think especially in the midfield, when your race is being decided by whose slipstream you have, I think that's where we kind of look for different solutions to combat that problem. And yeah, because I don't think racing should be about that, or at least, especially if you're trying to imitate freaking Formula One or motorsports and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense, and it must suck having the pace and then just getting absolutely not even obliterated on the track, just like almost off track, just with lag and stuff. It must suck because I know you put in like an insane amount of time for some
Yeah,
races, but unfortunately, that is the thing with a game being so big with such a bad netcode. um, I don't know. Maybe one day you go to Europe and you can race again and win UL or something. I'm not sure. The silence with the thought of moving to Europe is insane. or is
I love
internet
Africa
bad?
though.
Oh,
I love Africa.
yeah. I mean,
Eh?
I've never really left Europe. I have no idea about stuff like that, but it seems like a pretty cool place. It seems pretty cool indeed. One kind of last person I really want to talk about is Kubo, who came back in the last.
Yeah,
Well, he came back in Bali and then raced Monaco. P7, P5 on return. I got the pleasure of VCing with him on
Oof.
both, and not only is
Yeah.
he one of the nicest people in the league and one of the funnest people to VC with, he is rapid, like absolutely rapid. Um, I I don't really know like really what to say, but like he just is a really really quick driver and like another one of those that doesn't really like within 10 laps he's up to pace, and it's really annoying. But I guess that is
Yeah.
just UL driver, and that is why I'm currently not a UL driver because it takes me a good 100 laps to be
Hey,
up on good
the time's
pace.
coming.
Um, but yeah, Kubo is a very good driver, and I think a very respected person in the server as well. Probably the URA member that's got the least controversy as well, which is always a good thing, especially right now.
Oof.
Um,
Oof. 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 Oh, you did not just.
oh, am I missing something? Remember, I've only been here 2 seasons. Am I missing something?
No, 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 no. You're not missing something. No, you're not missing something at all. But damn. Damn. The timing is exquisite.
Oh, you talking about type? Oh yeah, well of course I've got to slip something in about that, but yeah, we don't need to talk about that right now. Also, my food is almost here, so we gotta be quick. This has been on for like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. Jesus Christ! Oh my God.
Oh, actually, mine's been ready an hour ago, actually.
Sorry.
Oh, mine was ready an hour ago.
Oh, oh, that's yeah, that's we can really yap. Holy crap! I'm trying to think of what else to talk about. I feel like we've kind of covered everything in all our tangents. Um,
Indeed.
is there anyone else? I guess someone's talking about FGR having a pretty horrible season. Um, Mayhem as well, just with inactivity. Lynx, I guess Kubo kind of saved it in the last couple races, but I mean, I would like to say I done
RMC
something, but
too.
I got 20,
Like,
I got
no,
20 points last season out of all the races. So I'm yeah. Kubo saved Lynx a little bit there as well.
uh, yeah, yeah, no, honestly, like, I think it will be very interesting to see, like, how a team like RMC performs for next season, because obviously they've got Kubo and Giroud, who's I'd say sort of coming back to racing full time. They've like the season they had Kader, who is dude, dude. Uh, oh, give that brother Loping, and you'll see miracles. Because yeah, and give him good Wi-Fi as well, and you will see him explode. But unfortunately, yeah, he wasn't able to really race that much this season. But next season, the prospects are looking fantastic for FGI, especially. Yeah,
I know, like this. Oh, yeah, SGP there will be next season, but I really, really don't want to talk about that because the preview of next season is going to be like that's going to be 5 hours long. That's going to be the Matty Mar interview episode. That is going to be insane. That's like the amount of stuff we have to talk about that is insane. Which is why we're going to keep it to talk about that because that is that's I actually, funnily enough, thought about doing like a double up
yeah.
episode of like a preview and review, and I'm so glad we didn't because this has almost
Oh,
been 2 hours. We would be here all day if we were doing that. Um, but I mean,
oh.
what did you expect when you gave Youa and Albano the podcast? Come on, URA, like be logical. Um,
They only
I
had
really
one
think
job. They only
I
had one
can
damn job.
keep the podcast under an hour. They said, mm, well,
Oof.
yeah, that's
Oh,
gonna.
how do we explain it though?
Well, I mean, I did say at the start the average UR2D person has very little attention span. So if you're here at this point, you've skipped. We know it. You've skipped parts. Um, I really think we've pretty much talked. But is there anything you want to talk about before we end this?
Not really, no. Although I do need to eat. I do need to eat. I'm not
Yeah, me
gonna
too.
lie.
I am so
I
hungry.
definitely need
I got pasta
to.
downstairs waiting for me, and I usually have my dinner like an hour and a half ago. Man, I'm so hungry. So,
Damn,
I think we're gonna end this.
you're
So,
cooked like your
anyone
food.
who's watched anything of this podcast, even if you have just skipped to the end, thank you for getting the views up. I guess you should have watched all of it, but yeah, it's fine. We'll let you off this time because it's been a very long one. You have been an absolute pleasure to commentate with. Even through the Wi-Fi, I've got quite a bit of editing to do through all the cuts that we had to do because of Wi-Fi
Oh
and
boy.
mums walking into rooms and angry neighbours. Um, we will
Oh boy.
see you for the 5 hour episode we've got coming up, most likely on
Hopefully.
the season preview of season 21, and it's going to be a good one. Probably, I think next season is going to go down in history of the best UR2D season ever. I'm putting my money on it now. Well, I'm putting no money on it because I don't have money, but I don't know.
Betting is
I'm
elite.
bet
Thank
yeah,
you.
I'm betting that it's gonna next season is gonna be. Oh, that's interesting time, and I've had a DM from the ex-host. We will see you next week for the podcast. I think without spoiling stuff, I think we're gonna try and do a lot of podcasts, probably some separate ones as well, so they're not all over 2 hours. Between myself and you,
Yeah.
between the post race previews of races, reviews of races, reviews of seasons, and interviews. That's realistically what everyone wants to see. People want the interviews, but enough yapping. I guess we end this. So, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you to Yua. Yua, you have anything
Thank you.
you wanna say?
Yeah, just a massive thank you for inviting me. And then yeah, now here's to chomping on food.
Well, yes. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you to you. It's been an absolute pleasure. See you soon. Adios.
Adios.